Hey there guys, it's Anthony here at Cutting Edge Guitar, and in today's video I want to talk to you about the importance of alternate picking. Let's get right into it. Okay guys, this is a really big subject that I get asked about a heck of a lot of the time as a guitar teacher, and it's more a case of people ask, how do I do it, how do I get better at it, or they'll ask things like, why do I even need to do this? Like, why is it such an important thing for me to be working on? Well, one of the things that I say to people about this all the time, it's all dependent on what it is that you want to achieve out of the guitar. So if you want to play, you know, fast-paced, more sort of like shreddy things, you know. Of course, it's obvious that you need to work on your alternate picking if you're someone who wants to be able to do that, but it's not so obvious if you're someone who wants to play pop music and all of them sorts of things. So I would put it to my students that are into, you know, rhythmic popping lines and them sorts of things. If you want to play stuff, you know, let's say something funky like this. How are you going to do that if you can't alternate pick? So if we have a look at the mechanics of what's going on with there, that's just like a funky popping line from famous Michael Jackson tune that probably most of you would know. But if you look at what's going on in my right hand here, so when I go into that D string there, that's going to be on a downstroke, okay? So the thing is with this, that is obviously, it's mechanically, it's a very different thing to this sort of stuff. Well, maybe not so much mechanically, but sonically, it's definitely very different to that sort of thing. But the technical, how I got to a point where, like, as a player, I could play those kind of things with ease. Oops, turn the volume down. It's all the same thing, like working on the same techniques built up that level of facility for me. So I get a lot of my students to work on these sorts of things. So whether you want to play fast-based or fast-paced, should I say, metal style riffing, or if you want to play funk popping lines, or if you want to be able to play blazing lead guitar, all of that sort of thing, the facility is fairly similar. Sure, if you're doing strumming, like funk strumming stuff, you know, like that's the alternate motion, but it's slightly different in terms of how I'm positioning my wrist. So when I'm doing the sort of Gilbertian, like by Gilbertian I mean Paul Gilbert, shreddy stuff, you know. Obviously I'm just doing that on a clean sound there, but what's going on with my wrist, if I sort of come in this way, you can see that my elbow is pretty fixed, okay, to that place, and the motion is coming from here. I also personally use a bit of motion from here with my alternate picking, okay? So if I do that sort of thing slowly, you can see how I'm moving. If I go into the funk strumming stuff, it looks more like this. So I've brought my wrist out at an angle, so I've got more sort of snap, I'm covering more strings and all that sort of stuff. But kind of more to the point of where I'm going with this video is the importance of it. If you can't do this, you're always going to really struggle to do like, okay? Another thing that you might find with things like alternate picking is that actually alternate picking is really good for keeping you in time. So what I mean by that is like the use of your internal metronome. So if I play another famous riff like this, what's going on there? I'm using alternate picking because the actual motion that's going on in my wrist, this stuff, you're moving like a metronome. So if I bring my hand up this way and just move like this. You imagine that you've got a metronome that's going tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, that sort of thing. That's what's going on with my right hand motion. And well, for me, I'm a right-handed guitar player. You might be a left-handed guitar player. So it's the picking hand motion, moving like this, that keeps you in time. Okay. Another thing that we say as like in the pro sort of guitar world, or people who are trying to become advanced guitar players, alternate picking is seen as a default technique for learning the fretboard. So let's say, for example, you are just getting into learning your arpeggios and stuff like that for the first time. You want to start getting around the fretboard more, becoming a bit more of an improvisational master, so to speak. Your guitar teacher, or whether that's me or someone else out there, whoever's content you're following, etc., etc., they might be asking you to learn your fretboard more, and they might be telling you to learn things like this. For anyone who doesn't know, that's a major 7 arpeggio, okay? Now, when I'm teaching my students to learn or practice their arpeggio forms, or things like their scale forms, I always tell them to use alternate picking as their sort of default technique. Because again, it's that timing thing. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You're actually moving in the direction of the downstroke, or like the downbeats and the upbeats. So all of my downstrokes with my plectrum there are on downbeats. 1, so this would be and 2. So the 1 and the 2 are both downbeats. Okay, the and that comes in between is an upbeat. So I'm moving on upstrokes in upbeats or offbeats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and keep going, etc. So that's another thing. It's like whether you are trying to play like lots of different styles of music, whether it's strumming, whether it's playing rhythm guitar concepts, whether you want to play blazing lead guitar, and this isn't genre specific. It's, if you're playing metal lead guitar or jazz lead guitar, like alternate picking is going to pay you dividends in terms of the timing and stuff like that. Where I will get some then pushback from a student that might say, well, what about Frank Gambale? Frank Gambale is one of your favourite guitar players, Anthony, and he uses sweep picking, so why can't I be doing that? Well, let's sort of discover or cover the sweep picking thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm putting the distortion back on, and I'm just going to talk about economy picking for a moment. So what goes on with economy picking, if I go back to playing through scales, instead of playing strict alternate where I'm going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, etc., what I'm going to do is I'm going to play strokes that go in the direction of my string changes. So down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Now if I wanted to come back up from there, I might do up, down, up, down, up, up, down, up. So you can see where I'm changing strings, down, up, down, down. And then when I'm changing strings to an up direction, I'm using upstrokes and everything there. So the thing with this, a student will say, well, the alternate picking thing doesn't work for me. I want to do this. Even Frank Gambale himself says that to become a good sweep or economy style player, you already need to have a good facility for alternate picking in the first place before you can build up to that technique. So there is a number of reasons why practicing your alternate picking is very, very important. So just to recap, it's important whether you want to play rhythm guitar, it's important if you want to play lead guitar, and from a lead guitar perspective, it doesn't have to be just shred concepts and stuff. If you want to play classic rock licks like this, what I'm doing there, I'm doing down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, alternate picking. helps with keeping in time. And one other thing that we didn't talk about actually would be what happens if you want to play along the length of a single string. If you're playing along the length of the single string, you know, like Yngwie does, you can't do that and pick all of the notes, all with downstrokes. I mean, for one thing, it sounds rubbish, but also it's really, really hard to do. So you need to be able to alternate pick your way through that. That doesn't mean to say, though, that I don't like the sweep picking approach, because as I said, a lot of my students will say, well, Frank Gambale is one of your favourite players. I do. I love sweep picking. Sweep picking's absolutely brilliant, and it's good for the things that it's useful for. But alternate picking is super important from that timing perspective, and as a default learning technique for getting your scales down and your arpeggios and all that sort of thing. You'll also find that there's a lot of things that you just can't play if you don't have your alternate picking chops, so to speak, together. So there we go, that's it for this lesson, guys. If you've enjoyed what I've talked to you about here, please do give this video a like, share it to anyone who you think might find this useful. If you want some detailed tuition in terms of improving your technique, your fretboard knowledge and all that stuff, check out Cutting Edge Guitar, where I've produced a massive content library. I've got books, lesson downloads, advanced online guitar courses, etc, etc. Check all of that out. Subscribe to the channel, because that will help me out massively, and also when I produce more lessons like this, you won't miss them. Okay guys, you take care, and I will see you in another video sometime soon.